Hey everyone. I posted a video, like, I don't know when this video is going to drop, but I'm taking this video like 12 hours after I've posted the other video. And a lot of you guys are wondering, we got this thing done and what's going on and, how did we do it and how does it fit? So figured I'd show a little walk around of just how everything works on this thing. Not much of a talking guy. Rather have the helmet on. But yeah, no, we were able to utilize a lot of stock mounting stuff like the oil tank, stock location, stock oil tank, transmissions all in the same, all the original motor mounts, all that stuff. The trans to motor adapter is very similar between the 3-cylinder and the 4-cylinder, so we were able to make that work with just, some spacers and some different spacing on stuff. Had our buddy Luke Adams make us an air box for it that goes to an elbow with the uni air filter. Hall-Tech ECU, standalone ECU, and wiring. I mean, we could have went through and cut the stock harness up and made it work that way, but just for ease and simplicity, it's a short course car. It's not going to get used for trails or anything like that. It's, bare bones for what it is. Right now I'm doing an oil change on it because we're running methanol, so got to make sure it's clean all the time. And had to take both panels off. We have two big panels here. I'll show later. I'll put them on here in a little bit. Bruce Martins, our boy Bruce made them. They fucking look really nice. They are super nice fitting, and just kind of show the ease of maintenance. Had to make our own front motor mounts, but everything just fits really nice. Got a lot of room between the motor and the frame. It all fits together really well. Shocks. Revalved the shocks, dropped them down a little bit for short course use, so they're set up a little bit stiffer, a lot stiffer. Different spring rates, so we can get the jumping and all the stuff that we'd like to get. We basically bypassed the oil cooler. I don't know if you guys can see that very too well, or it might be too dark, but yeah, we're not using the oil cooler because it would kind of be an oil heater in this application, but we're thinking about using it again. I mean, our oil temps aren't really too high, nothing really crazy to worry about. The oil drain on the motor's right there. I mean, it's all right there. It's super simple, and this would be our first maintenance on the motor since putting it in, and it's came out really clean so far. Our buddy Chad Reed gave us a silencer, All 4 Racing. He's adapting, making some things for us so it wouldn't burn the sticker up, but it's by far the quietest car out there. Now so far we've made everything for it. Stock primary, stock Yamaha Apex primary, came with the sled. We used to have the OEM team secondary. I mean, it still is an OEM team secondary, but we stripped out the splines because this nut kept backing off, so we basically forced this nut to stay tight, or this bolt to stay tight at all times, because in here it's just aluminum threads and it'll just spin right off. So that was something that we had to learn the hard way. After the secondary goes spinning off, passing you down the road, is what it is. So this car, got asked a couple times, why didn't we just use the 3-cylinder? Why didn't we just put a built 3-cylinder in it? Well, that was never an option, right? I mean, I'm not saying never an option, but we didn't have any of the hardware for this car. It came, we got this car and it was just a chassis and everything else torn off it pretty much. There was no even CV chassis. It was just parts. It was a parts car pretty much. And, a couple drunk nights, we were, looking at what people did back in the early 10s with the XP 1000s, and they were putting Apex motors into them, and said, why the hell don't they do that now? And decided to do that pretty much. I mean, the 3-cylinders are a great engine, but they have their shortcomings, and you figure with the 4-cylinder, I mean, they put them in airplanes. Why not try it? Nobody's done it yet in in a double X chassis and keeping it NA. The whole goal of this is to be a NA class killer or a turbo class killer. You know, a wolf in the turbo class. I mean, we'll see. It's beaten a couple turbo cars so far. It's still early on in, you know, our clutching development and what we're doing for that. It's just, you know, work in progress. Small things here and there to keep it going, or, you know, steps in the right direction. Things that we're going to have to probably go through or go forward with is running a different fuel cell. I'll show the dash off here in a little bit of all the tuning and stuff that we're able to do just on the fly. But yeah, we're just running the, you know, stock plastic fuel tank down underneath there. The front differential, we had Speedworks reinforce that with the 4-spider front. And it's perma locked in 4-wheel drive pretty much. Got a 2-to-1 quickener with like a Saturn View steering box. Works pretty good. We're still in the kind of trying phase of that. If I run it for too long, it'll start, you know, freezing up. But in the races, I haven't really noticed anything bad going on with it. Stock steering rack. Just different shocks and all that stuff. But yeah, I'll get the oil change done and do a little fire up on it. Take you guys for a little rip. done by my buddy Bruce. Bruce Martins from Martins Performance. He did an amazing job. He wired everything from everything. He wired everything up underneath the dash so we could still get the headlights to work. Made it so the fans kicked on at the right time, and that's all ECU controlled through the Haltech, and he's a real whiz. My dad, you know, his knowledge and determination to just, you know, do it. I mean, yeah, there's none of these around, and just to have the confidence to be like, you know what, no, we're putting a 4-cylinder in one of these, which really they should have came with this motor from factory, personally. I mean, that's kind of silly why they put the 3-cylinder in them, but here we are with the 4-cylinder, not looking back. And it's, you know, it's between the three of us, I mean, we've had to do it all. Like, we've had to learn, you know, everything. And it's not like our first rodeo of putting motors in things that they shouldn't belong in. The quad, for example. I mean, we have a YZ450, the 14 to 17 gen motor in a LTR 450 chassis, and we made our own chassis for this. So it's not our first rodeo. It's just, you know, doing it on a different scale, on a lot bigger of a scale. And, you know, yeah, without those two major people in my life, this wouldn't have been possible, and really appreciate it. But yeah, moving onward, and you know, from here on out, it's just, I mean, still, we're going to have to do some fine tuning and figure some things out, because again, first ones to do this, only ones to do this, and it's kind of cool. So, yep, stay tuned for more updates. I don't really know how to close these videos out because I don't usually talk in any of these videos, but yeah.